Hello, amazing entrepreneur. It's Tash Corbin here, and welcome to another episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. This is episode number 371, which means you can find all the relevant links and the show notes for today's episode, along with a transcript of the article at tashcorbin.com/371. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to write better offers. Now, I do guarantee you that this week's episode will be shorter than last week's episode, but it will be just as practical, just as powerful, just as valuable. We'll just get through it shorter. I'm sure that you agree, though, that last week's podcast episode was spectacular. I've had a lot of great feedback about it already, and I know that it's going to help you make more sales. And this episode is going to do exactly the same thing. So how about we dive on in? I'm Tash Corbin, and this is the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. So first and foremost, what is an offer? I want us to be really clear on what we're talking about here, because sometimes people misconstrue the word offer to mean something that it doesn't. So if, for example, you have a 10-week VIP coaching package and it includes 10 sessions and it's $2,500, that is your product. Yeah, that is the thing that you have to sell. If you were to put that on sale for $1,500 for the first 3 people, that would be a sale. Neither of those things is actually an offer. So your offer is the way you speak about your product and service in a way that helps people to understand whether it's the right fit for them and encourages the right people to take action and buy it. So you can present your offers in video form, you can present them in oral form, I talk about some of my offers on my podcast here sometimes, but what I really want to focus on today is the written offer, because in your email marketing, in your posts on social media, on your sales pages, there's lots of places on your website where we present our offers in written form. And for most people, written offers is something that they really struggle with. So we're going to start with written offers today. But I do want to acknowledge that there are lots and lots of different ways that you can pitch an offer. It doesn't always need to be in writing. So what we're going to focus on today is, how do you write those offers in a way that are really resonant for your ideal clients? How do you write those offers so that you get more sales? Because ultimately, that's an offer's job, is to get either people to book in a call to talk about it, or reach out to connect with you, or buy your offer off the bat. Yeah? So a few things that I want to cross off your list that do not help you write better offers. Number 1, hypnotic words. These were big in the late 90s, early 2000s. Early online businesses still kind of use them a little bit, but we know now that using hypnotic words doesn't necessarily do a better job of connecting people with your offer or encouraging people to buy in an informed way. Hypnotic words, I won't go into what they are, all the detail of that sort of thing. I think these days, hypnotic words, most people are like, yeah, we get it. That's gross. But it's generally the type of thing that makes it sound like it's the last thing you'll ever need, or the ultimate. Ultimate is like the ultimate hypnotic word, right? A lot of hypnotic word stuff says you always have to say your. So this is your VIP package, right? Because then you're implying ownership. Now, and I mean like saying it to the client. So when you post about the offer on social media, you'd say, now working together in your VIP package, we would right? It just doesn't do what it used to do. We're a little more savvy to those things these days, and it just makes your work look like all the other copy paste stuff that's out there. And it doesn't help you to write a better offer. What it does is ties you in knots trying to incorporate a certain set of words, thinking that those certain set of words will magically make people want to buy from you, when what's fundamentally missing from most offers is talking about the value proposition of what it is that you actually do and the transformation that you facilitate. So rather than getting tied up in knots trying to incorporate hypnotic words, let's just say that's so 90s and we'll just not do that anymore. That's fine. Another thing that will not help you write better offers, and this is going to be controversial because I know a lot of people really love it, is AI. AI, ChatGPT, Copy.ai, the Bard, whichever one you're using, the one specifically written for marketing, the one specifically written for offers, will not help you write better offers. The reason being is that you are outsourcing the writing of the offer to an artificial intelligence, to the crowdsourcing force of the internet. And the number one thing that you will do to your offers if you use AI to write them is make them look like everyone else's offers. You will make them sound like everyone else's offers. You will not learn how to speak about the tangible value proposition that you facilitate. And if you don't know how to write great offers, you will really struggle to know whether what ChatGPT has churned out for you is actually good or not. Whether that AI written offer is going to attract the right people or not. And ultimately, what I see for a lot of people who have fallen in love with AI, not everyone, but a lot of people, is that they have fallen so in love with AI that they have decided that they don't need to write anything anymore. They are so terrible at writing, and AI is so magical and brilliant at writing that they hardly do any writing in their business anymore. They just let AI do it for them, or they let AI do 90% of the work and then they just put it in their voice, but they don't know what their voice is. They're just starting to sound and look like every other bro marketer on the internet. Let's face it, AI is inherently sexist and it is inherently biased towards straight white male viewpoints, because that's what the internet is inherently biased towards. And so AI and ChatGPT have been shown to be more effective at promoting and selling products to men. AI and ChatGPT have been shown as less effective at writing promotions and getting sales for women. And that doesn't surprise me. And I think that you're actually holding yourself back and putting yourself in a situation where you will longer and longer believe that you are a terrible writer, longer and longer believe that AI is better than you, longer and longer believe that you just don't have the skills and you'll never build them and you'll never learn and you'll never know how to do it, the longer you keep using AI and ChatGPT to try and do this work for you. So I do not recommend AI or ChatGPT if you want to write better offers. I don't. And then the final thing that I don't recommend if you want to write better offers is outsourcing it. Not even to me. Now, I do a lot of copy reviews and suggestions for students in my programs and for my VIP clients and all that kind of thing. And I do it all through the lens of helping them to understand how to write better offers. Not, here, I have written your offer for you. And so, yes, I might rewrite something or present a potential version, but I do it through the lens of explaining why I've done it that way, what I've grabbed the information from, where I think that this has, this opportunity could lie. And therefore, I have now equipped that person with the ability to write better offers themselves. And so I do not recommend, if you are looking to write better offers and have better offers on socials in particular and in your emails, that you outsource writing your social media and your emails to someone else. Because you, again, will hold yourself back from learning that skill. It's one of the most important skills that you need to learn as an online business owner. And the longer you keep convincing yourself that everyone is better than you, even a robot's better than you, the longer you will hold yourself back from learning how to do this. And the faster you learn how to do this, the more sales you're going to make. And the more consistently you'll make those sales. And no matter how your offer changes, no matter how your business grows, you will be far more confident and competent at writing offers for those new things that you put together. You're not always going to offer the same package. You're not going to always offer the same course. You might restructure something. You might re-niche. You might rebrand. Then are you then going to, again, have to hire someone else to write all this for you? Some of the questions that good copywriters ask you to answer when they're doing your copywriting for you, if you haven't written offers yourself, if you don't understand your ideal clients, if you don't understand your value proposition, you can't answer the questions. And so the copy that they write for you is less than ideal. And they will tell you it's less than ideal. They will tell you, well, because you didn't know X and Y, I've made up this and that. But as you continue working your business, you're going to have to work out whether that's the right fit or not. And you may need to make some changes here. And so please practice writing your own offers. One of the things that will help you to write better offers is writing better offers. So that's my tip number one, is to write them more often and write more of them. So number one, one of the biggest drivers of the quality and the effectiveness of your offers is the quantity of offers that you write. Now, particularly for social media, where you cannot use the same copy for an offer twice within 30 days of each other, and you need to write offers in most cases several times a week, means that you're going to need at least 10, if not 20 different versions of each offer, of each product, right? You're going to need to write 10 to 20 different offers for each product that you have in order to not be penalized for duplicate content on social media. And so therefore, even if you do outsource, even if you do use AI, even if you do all those sorts of things, you're going to have to make sure that they give you lots and lots and lots of different versions. And the more different versions you ask for from someone else, the more dialed in and less powerful those different versions are. But the difference is when you do it yourself, when you write these offers yourself and you are writing a high quantity of offers, you start to get better at the quality of offer that you write. And you may have heard the story of the art class. We've been talking about this in the Takeoff program recently, where there was an art class and the lecturer of the art class divided the class into two. And he gave different information to each half of the class about how they were going to be assessed that semester. So one half of the class were told that the thing they would be assessed on at the end of the semester was the quality of one piece of artwork. So it didn't matter how many pieces of artwork they created throughout the semester. All the assessor would be looking at is one piece of artwork, and they needed to submit one high quality piece of artwork, and that is what they will be assessed on. The other half of the class were told that the only thing they would be assessed on is the number of artworks they created throughout the semester. So one half of the class was going to be measured on quality and one half of the class was going to be measured on quantity. But which half of the class actually ended up producing the best artworks, the highest quality of work? It was not the side that were focused on quality. It was the side that was focused on quantity. Through the sheer volume of works created, those students improved their skills, their discernment, their techniques, their eye. They improved the quality of the creations that they were producing because they were producing so much. On the other hand, the side of the class that were just trying to work on this one perfect piece got caught up in perfectionism, overthinking. They didn't produce as much, didn't do as much of the work. They didn't practice as much. They didn't refine their technique. They didn't develop their eye. All of those things that are needed for quality required quantity to develop. And the same goes for when you're writing offers. The more you write, the better they get. The more often you write them, the more volume that you write, the more you practice the skill set of writing them, the better they get. So that is tip number one. Quantity is what drives quality. Number two, when you are writing offers, you need to ensure they are fit for purpose. Fit for purpose. So if I tried to craft one offer in which I pitched my Takeoff program, for example, I would find it very challenging to make sales of the Takeoff program because there are different contexts, there are different audiences, there are different challenges that people face depending on where they're at in their business journey. And I need to be able to speak directly to the experience that the reader is having at that point in time. And so I actually have over 50 different versions of offers of my one online program, Takeoff. 50. 50 different ways that I pitch the Takeoff program. And when I am writing an offer, when I'm sharing an offer, I consider what platform am I sharing this on? So if I write an offer and I am sending it to people who've just done a webinar on niching, and they understand that niching is critical, and the big thing that they get out of niching is really great messaging, so they write great offers, the way I focus their attention on the outcomes of the Takeoff program and the way that I speak to them, given that we've already done a training session together, they know me, they know what I do, the things that I focus on are going to be very different to if I'm pitching this cold to people on social media who have only been around for a few weeks and have never actually been through a training process with me. Similarly, the way I pitch the Takeoff program is going to be different here on this podcast. It's going to be different compared to sharing it in the heart-centered group versus sharing it on my Facebook page, versus sharing it on my Instagram, versus sharing it in Instagram stories. Each different platform has different levels of hot and cold audience. It has different requirements of what people are looking for. I need to touch on different key points. And so I want to make sure that it's fit for purpose and it's doing its job for the audience that I'm writing it for. So the three big things that I consider when I think about fit for purpose is, what platform am I sharing this on? What audience am I focused on speaking to with this offer? And what context do I have as to why people are seeing this offer now? So, for example, on the sales page of the Takeoff program, people don't just stumble across that on the internet. They go to the sales page for the Takeoff program because I have directed them there from social media or email in most cases. And so the copy of the sales page of the Takeoff program is actually written for quite a hot audience. I didn't write it for strangers on the internet who don't know me. I didn't write it for people who have never heard of consent-based marketing before. I didn't write it for people who are price shopping around startup programs on the internet, because I won't win based on price. And most people who end up doing the Takeoff program do it because they deeply value the opportunity to connect with me and work with me and to access that mentorship. And most people who are price shopping around the internet are just looking for a self-study course that they can do really quickly that somehow guarantees they're going to make 6 figures in 6 weeks. And I don't do that. And so if I was trying to write my sales page for strangers on the internet, I would have written it very, very differently. And yet so many people, when they write sales pages for their products and services, they write it for a cold audience because that's who they're thinking of when they write their sales page. Well, if a stranger on the internet stumbles across this, 95% of the people who read that sales page did not stumble across it on the internet randomly. They went there because they already know you, they already trust you, they've got an email from you, they're on your mailing list, they're following you on socials, they've been to your webinar, and they're hotly considering working with you. And so if you speak to them like they're a stranger on the internet, and if you start right back at the start, you're going to give them the impression that this is for beginners and this is not for them. You're going to give them the impression that you don't understand what is going on for them. You're going to give them the impression that you don't understand how you are best equipped to be able to help move their business forward or move them forward towards their goals. Simply because you wrote it for strangers on the internet. And yeah, sure, strangers on the internet might stumble across it. But what is the likelihood that some random stranger is going to stumble across your sales page and then just go, oh yeah, that's great. Take my money. Here, I'm good. That's the exception. It's not the rule. Are you writing things for the exception or are you writing them for the rule? So I think about platform, I think about audience, and I think about context, which is all of the ways that I ensure that my offer is fit for purpose. I've written it fit for the purpose that I'm going to use it for. Number 3 is ensuring that you have your core messaging nailed. And by core messaging, I mean at the very heart of it, clarity on your niche, who this is for, your value proposition, what is the value of the transformation, and your bridge messaging. What is the gap that you need to cross between where your ideal client thinks the problem and the solution is versus where you know the problem and solution is. It is this bridge that we get to make between what they're running around thinking is going on versus what you can see what is really going on what happens underneath the surface, what's really needed in order to achieve the goal or resolve the problem. So core message is something that I am very passionate about. And when you have your core message all mapped out and in front of you, and then you write offers from that core message over and over and over again in different ways and through different angles, you will actually find that all of those offers feel like they are on brand. All of those offers feel like they are written for the niche. It all does its job, but it's looking at it through different angles because you've broken those angles down in crafting that core message. So it's got consistency and it allows you to look at it through different lenses. So that is the freebie that comes with today's podcast episode. I've been talking about this a lot over the last few months because I still think that core messaging is where most people end up falling down, and it is the basis on which you write your offers, your content, your emails, your sales pages, your website, your social media content. It's what you should be creating your reels through. And so if you have not yet done your core messaging through my core messaging free training and template, make sure you go and check that one out. I'll pop the link with the show notes at today's episode, tashcorbin.com/371. So that is number 3, the way that we help to ensure that you're writing better offers. So just a reminder, number 1, write quantity in order to write better quality. Number 2, make sure that it's fit for purpose. Consider the platform, the audience, the context. Number 3, have your core message nailed and write it from that core message. Number 4 is write your offer so that it doesn't read like an ad. For a lot of us, we come from a background in formal writing, or we have had experiences where we are more taken seriously or more respected or more regarded when we've written more formally. And that takes a lot of undoing when it comes to now trying to write conversationally as a business owner and as a marketer. But we don't log into Facebook because we want to check out the latest ads. We don't scroll mindlessly through Instagram trying to find more ads. The ads in our feed are the things we scroll past the fastest in most cases. The ads in our feed are the necessary inconvenience that is the price we pay to have free access to social media. That's what ads are. So why does everyone write their offers like they're trying to write an ad? I don't get it. You log into social media to see what your friends are up to be entertained, to learn something. Write your offers through that lens. Ask yourself the question, when you look at your offers, does that look like an ad? How can I make it look more conversational? How can I make it more look like an organic piece of content? How can I make it look like something that a friend would have shared? How can I make it more look like native social content? And the same thing goes for your emails. If you scroll through your inbox and you can see you've got a few promo emails, are they the first ones that you open? Just asking. Or is it the ones that get you a bit of behind the scenes information, or they feel like they're going to help you with something, or they're educational in some way? Like, stop trying to make things look like ads because you think if it looks like an ad, I'll look legit. Because actually, if I look like an ad, I'll look like something I want to scroll past. It is such an unlearning that we need to go through, but it is one of the most powerful ways for you to get better at writing better offers, which is what this podcast promised. So stop making it look like an ad, use more conversational language, learn how to write in a way that seems like native social content, native email content, right? It's educational, it's informative, it's fun, it's behind the scenes, it's gossip, right? That allows us to get engaged in what it is that you're sharing. Now, I'm not saying write long-winded, vulnerable posts and turn them into ads at the end, because we also want to ensure that we're generating trust. And we don't want to put people into the situation. Have you ever been in this situation before where you started watching a video thinking it was going to be like, oh, look at this amazing like thing, like it's, oh, this is fascinating, and then you realize it's an ad and you feel a bit like and there's actually an ad. I don't know who it's for, so I'm not naming and shaming because I don't know who it is. But it's so funny. It's an ad that pops up a lot on Reels on Instagram for both David and I. And it starts with, give me 30 days. And every time we hear, give me 30 days, we both go, no, and then scroll past. I've never heard the rest of that reel before. And it's like some bro marketing dude walking down the beach. Of course, I'm not going to scroll. I'm not interested, but it is just so funny. And, we had my niece here and the same thing happened for her. So she was scrolling through Instagram Reels to show me something. And then we heard, give me 30 days. And she went, nope. And scroll past. I was like, good one, Char. So that's the whole point, right? Is that you know it's an ad, and it gets a big no. And then on the flip side, there are videos that I've seen where it's like someone is like, you know, those like really hook you in things where someone's cooking something and you're fascinated to see how it goes. Or there's one where the girl says, I didn't know that I was going to be sharing this today, but I just need to tell you something. And then she starts sharing this like quite vulnerable story. And then she goes, and that's why I created this book. And it's like a journaling book. But it gets me every time. And that makes me just as cranky as the give me 30 days. Nope. No, thank you. So we do need to, I got sucked into it a few times, right? And so now when I see that person's name, I don't like her content. I don't watch her videos as much because I feel like a sucker, right? I feel like in the Simpsons when Homer's walking through the fairground and the carnival ride guy like sees him and he turns into a pigeon just walking around flashing his money around, because that's what I feel like. I feel like I'm such a sucker. Oh, I got all emotionally invested in this person's life or this person's story, and it turns out she's promoting a journal. Now, that's not to say you can't use story and you can't, create connection and be conversational, but just be mindful of the extent to which people will feel like maybe they've been lured in, or it's a bait and switch, or you always do that to them, versus ads are ads and they sound completely different to who you are and your normal tone of voice and your conversational tone of voice. So especially with visuals, I find like it's a lot easier to ensure that it doesn't look like an ad. And then with your copy, you can be compelling and you can have great intro lines without people like getting invested and reading 15 minutes worth of content before they realize, oh, this is actually a sales pitch. So yeah, we just want to make sure it doesn't look like an ad. We try and make it look as native social as we can, but let's not create a relationship where people feel like they can't trust your content or they don't want to start reading something of yours because everything turns into an ad. Yeah. Okay. Number 5 is there are so many different ways that you can include things like calls to action, headlines, emojis, those sorts of things. Don't get fixated on always using the same devices in your offers. So sometimes I will see offers from people I'm familiar with within the community, and I don't know what they're offering because everything looks the same. Everything has the same structure. And I also find I scroll past that a lot quicker because I'm like, oh, that's that offer. Even it could be a new thing. They could be doing a new webinar or it could be a new free thing. But I don't know that, and I assume that it's not, simply because it just all starts to look the same. So we do want to ensure that we're bringing a lot of variety into the way that we write, the way that we start the offer, the way that we, highlight our bullet points, or the way that we break it down. And remember that we want to have a mix, right? We want some long form offers, we want some short form offers, we want some sales page type offers, we want some more dynamic conversational offers, right? So we've got to mix those things up. So don't get all caught in using the exact same devices. So sometimes, even with webinars, right? The device of date, put the date, time, put the time. You don't have to do that every single time. You can say it's on date at time. You can say all the details and the time it's on is on the sign up page. You can say it's at such and such London, such and such Brisbane, such and such New York, right? So there's even just presenting the date and time that something is on. You can use lots and lots of different ways of doing that. Try not to fall into the same pattern of doing the same stuff over and over and over again. Mix it up and see what works and see what gets people's interest. And remember that even if you do find something that works really well, it won't keep working really well if that's the only thing that you use. Use lots and lots of variety as much as you can. Which brings me to my final takeaway here, and that is, because quantity drives quality, challenge yourself whenever you're about to write your next offer. Challenge yourself to write 10 at once. Then challenge yourself next time to write 20 at once. And then the next time, write 30 at once. The more that you write, the more different versions you have to create, the more you have to look at your core messaging in full and really dive into some of the examples, the better those offers will get. They really do get better and better. And I actually had someone in one of my programs was writing promotions for her webinar, and she said, I just feel like I'm just churning out the same stuff. I'm writing another version because yesterday's didn't work very well, but then I'm writing it looking at yesterday's version. I'm just really moving the words around. I'm not necessarily writing it differently. So I said to her, well, let's co-write. You write 10 different versions of your webinar promo, and I'll write another 10 different versions for you. So you'll end up with 20 different promos to choose from. And in the process of writing her 10 different webinar promos, she actually ended up getting to 12. She was like, the last 5 are perfect. They're way better. It's just the art of writing them and writing them all at once instead of trying to write one a day. Because if you come back to it again and the next day, well, you're going to be like, oh, what was I talking about? What did I say? What was I? And so the first thing you do is go and look at the last version. And so it ends up sounding like the last version. Whereas if you're writing them all in one go, you're looking for a differentiator. You're looking to take a different angle. You're looking to write it in a different tone. And you can even think about all those different versions. So you've got long version, medium version, short version, super long version. Story about X, story about Y, story about Z turns into offer. Then you could write a chatty one, a fun one, a playful one, a serious one, a kind one, a loving nudge one, a tough love one, an argument for something, a let's debate about this one. You can come up with all of these different versions. And if you really challenge yourself to look at, well, what is the difference between a fun version of my offer and a really cheeky version of my offer? And what's the difference between those two and a really playful version of my offer? And if you try and write all of those at the same time, right, you're writing all of them one after the other, they will actually be far more likely to be in that tone because you can see the difference. And so the more that you write, the better they will be, and the more effective your offers will be overall over the long term. If you write them. Don't write the offer once and then put it into AI and ask it to make it conversational, bit more feminine, bit more playful, bit more casual. Because when we think about the bias of AI towards straight white men, middle-aged straight white men, by the way, then what is playful for a middle-aged straight white man? It's going to be different to what's playful for me. And also, I don't know if you've ever done this before. I do this in every new AI tool that anyone ever recommends, is I ask AI to write a promotion for a webinar. And then when it writes it, I say, can you make it, my ideal client is actually more women, more feminine. Could you write it again for a more feminine audience? And every single time, the first version always has emojis. It's a bit of a dead giveaway these days for AI, the way the emojis are written. Not all emojis, but the way the emojis are written in AI copy. And then when I ask it to do like a more women-friendly version or women-centric or whatever, do you know what it does? It doesn't change a single word. It will turn the emojis from rockets into flowers. It will turn the emojis from flames into stars, or from the data going up to butterflies. It is so bad, right? And it is literally, if I was to give AI a name and like talk about it through the lens of like, it's actually just a dude doing the writing for me. Like, his name is Philip and he has a 13-year-old daughter and he's trying really hard to write stuff that she likes. Honestly. And when you think about the bias of the internet and the bias of AI, like, that's pretty much what you're doing. You're asking a middle-aged straight white man to write offers for your audience. I was giving feedback to the creators of an AI tool that I use for show note captions for my podcast. We've stopped using it now, actually, because it just was getting worse and worse. And I said to the guy, I said, it's like being on a really bad date and I'm telling him over and over again what I need, and he's just not listening to me. And that was when I had this realization of like, AI is like a random middle-aged white guy who just is like, it's almost like he's being a bit condescending towards me. Oh, here, sweetheart, I'll give you some ideas. Anyway, so don't get AI to write it for you, at least in the first instance. AI peeps, please don't come at me. I understand. You love it. It's great. You only use it for the ideas. You don't use it for You use it, you make your own voice. Okay, you keep telling yourself that. I see your offers. I see your posts. I see which ones are AI infused, and I can tell the difference. So you keep telling yourself that everything is okay, and you keep using your AI tools. This is clearly not the podcast episode for you. But for those of you who actually do want to build your skills in writing better offers and have those offers do their job on socials and in emails, on their sales pages, on your website, if you really are, clear on that this is a non-negotiable skill set for an entrepreneur that will hold you in good stead for the rest of your business journey, then my tips for you are, remember that quantity drives quality. Make sure that it's fit for purpose. Have your core message in front of you, have it nailed, like really work on that core message stuff, because the more you refine that, the better quality your offers are going to be. Don't write it like an ad. Don't try and write the same thing over and over again. Like, really create some variety and write 30 versions all in one sitting so that you can really see how much quantity drives quality. Now, as a quick reminder, if you go to the show notes of today's episode at tashcorbin.com/371, you'll find my core message training and free template there for you. That will help you to get the core messaging part of this process sorted. And I look forward to seeing your amazing offers online in my inbox all over the shop now that you know what it really takes to write better offers. Would you like more tips, tools, and resources to help you grow your heart-centered business? Head to tashcorbin.com today.